Kitty does make a lot of mistakes, but I do think that there are things that she'll learn from, and her heart is always in the right place. So I feel like I will trust that and be like, it's great that you lead with your heart, and I love that for you. But maybe don't try to be, as my friend has said to me before, don't be Captain Save-A-Ho, which is like trying to save.
Hi, beautiful human. I'm Zach. That's Stanley. Welcome to the studio for the first time ever.
Thank you.
Star of a really big deal. This is a huge show you're on, Gia Kim.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you for having me. It's my first time at Amazon Studios, so this is exciting.
Yeah, Amazon MGM Studios, the proud home of the Zachsang Show.
Yes, right.
Studio 126 within the Amazon MGM Studios is the proud home of the Zachsang Show. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having me, and I apologize in advance for my very nasally. I'm very clogged up right now.
It's okay. You're human.
Thank you.
It's the way the world works.
Thank you.
Being clogged sucks.
Yes.
How does one clear their sinuses? Can you share a good remedy? I mean, clearly not because you're clogged.
No, I don't know. I'm just blowing my nose a lot. I'm drinking a lot of tea. Yeah, but thankfully I can taste. That's the worst, when you can't taste anything. So
It's very scary.
I'm very thankful.
No, but thank you really for being here, because xokitty is it's a huge deal.
Mm-hmm.
It's historic and culturally defining in many, many different ways. Also generationally defining in many ways. Do you feel any of that responsibility now that season 2 is out there in the world? By the way, still sitting in the top 10 here in the United States.
You know what? I was thinking about this earlier. I don't know if I'm fully aware of the success of the show. Really? Like, to me, I'm like, okay, yeah, it's in the top 10. Like, it's number 1 in how many countries. But, like, they're, like, statistics so far to me. So it feels surreal. I don't really know what that means. It doesn't compute. Something doesn't compute as to, like, what that means in terms of reach or anything like that.
Yeah, numbers are intangible.
Yeah.
Right? You can
Yeah.
see numbers, but you necessarily don't feel it until you go out into the wild.
Right, yes. And then I meet people and they're like, oh, these real people watch the show. And then I'm like, oh, people did watch the show. You know, it's not just like a number on a platform.
You talked about the characters finding you at the right time in your life.
Yeah,
Where were you at when Yuri found you?
that's an interesting question. So literally I think I've talked about it in a few interviews where I heard about getting the role, like booking the role while I was working I was working as a server at the time in LA. But more figuratively, I guess it's I was just out of acting school. I hadn't studied acting in my bachelor degree, so I came to LA to take a conservatory, 2.5-year conservatory program. So I was just out of school, and this role found me, I guess, right at the heels of that, right? And then, yeah, just very fortuitous timing, because the pandemic had somewhat calmed down and I had just graduated. I was looking for jobs anyways, and then this open call came at a very opportune time for me to take it.
What is the preparation like for an open call like that? Because again, like you in that moment have to realize you're going up against literally everybody, right? That looks somewhat like you or has the same abilities, like fits whatever qualifications that they're looking for.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you prepare for something like that? Do you take it seriously?
Oh,
Because it's almost like the odds are stacked against you.
right. Do I take it seriously? That's such an interesting way to put it, because I think yes and no. I'm like, I feel like I'm just throwing a dart into the void, you know?
Literally.
Almost. Yeah. So I'm like, I don't want to take it too seriously, because then I might just, you know, put too much pressure on myself. And also because my actual age is very, you know, I graduated high school 10 plus years ago. So I was like, it's a high school character, long shot, whatever, I'll do it. I think I just threw the dart into the void, not knowing it'll stick somewhere, but it did. So yes and no to that question, I think.
Can we talk about that for a second? Because
Yeah.
it is interesting. Like we're close in age. You're 30, right?
I'm 32.
Yeah, I'm about to be 32. I'm 31.
Really?
Yes.
When's your birthday?
May 2nd.
Wait, are you a Taurus?
I am a Taurus.
I love Tauruses. My mother's a Taurus.
Aw, good company for me. What is your sign?
Scorpio.
We are very compatible.
We are.
We literally, like, what you don't have, I have.
Yeah,
And
because
what
we're
I
on
have,
the
you don't have.
opposites of the zodiac wheel.
Yes. And highly compatible.
Was the
Yes.
match made in heaven right here?
Yep.
I had a really deep crush for a long time on a Scorpio. They ended up ruining me. They took so much from me. It's hard. They're hard ones to love. It's true.
When you're younger, yeah, I guess. I don't.
Anyway,
Okay.
back to playing a high school student, because that is interesting, right? Like, that's how do you mentally enter into the life and struggle of somebody navigating a boarding school? I mean, you know that. You could pull from your own experience because you went to boarding school.
Well, it wasn't a boarding school. It was an international school, which is the same as the xokitty. Yeah. I guess I was trying to get into the mindset of like what was important to me in high school. And in high school, what was like the top 3 things would be family, friends, school, right? And then love. I like my crushes, all of that thing, like the kind of innocent young love that comes with it. And I do remember having a very innocent, naive crush in high school that just ended up breaking my heart into a million pieces. But stuff like very tangible, visceral moments like that, I try to remember back to the kind of levity that I had at that age and how impressionable I was at that age as well. So I was trying to bring literally every memory that I could remember to get into this role, I think. In this specific instance, it was a bit of my own homework plus exercises that I had done with my teachers. Like literally when I was in quarantine in preparation for this role, I got on a Zoom call and I did like some embodiment exercises with my teacher, who's like a movement teacher of mine, and we would do stuff like how does she walk when she's alone versus out in the world? What's her, what does she say to herself in her room versus like when she's with other people, like trying to embody her a little bit more. So it was a bit of both things happening.
Is there any part of Yuri's character that you've ended up absorbing yourself?
I hope that her characteristic of being able to be more comfortable in her own skin and taking up space, being okay taking up space, is a quality that I've always loved about and admired about her that I thought that I lacked in myself. So I think so, even though I can't really say yes, like I have these qualities now, but I'm sure that they have because like you'd mentioned earlier, I do believe that the role found me for a reason at the time that it did.
Do you feel like this role has changed you at all?
I don't know. Yes and no. I think yes because it was part of a show that did so well that it came with a lot of the following that it did, the fans and the viewership that it got.
The first spinoff to All the Boys.
Yes, which already had a huge fan base as well. So it's made me... It's what catapulted me into more of the public eye as an actor, right? Because previous to that, I was doing more theater work and school and little short videos and things. So it's changed me in a way that I think I just had to learn to navigate new roles, new ways of being seen in the world, I think, navigating in a different way. But then again, I guess I'm the same in like at the core of who I am. I don't know.
Anything you learned from doing this show that you apply to your career moving forward? I mean, a bunch.
Yeah, so much. This was really like a boot camp for me in terms of industry, being on set, I think. Because, prior to this, I hadn't been on a big set like this. And then because I was in quarantine, I had all of my scenes pushed up in the last 3 days of the block. So instead of it being spread out over 2 weeks as it was supposed to be, it was like all 3 days. It was just all of my scenes, like back to back to back. So it really just felt like 3 days of boot camp of this is what it's like to be on set on a Netflix show and working with industry, which was great because, everyone knows what they're doing. They're all at the top of their game. I just need to focus on my own job.
But it's pressure, though.
Yes, of course.
And there's stress with that.
Yes, and also, like you said, it's so different from theater where I didn't know how to approach it at first. I was like, because with theater, I have to memorize the whole script until some deadline, and then we get it up on its feet and rehearse it over and over until we have it put on show, right? Whereas with TV, you don't memorize it from episode 1 to 10. And I was like, am I supposed to memorize like all of this? Like, I don't know how to go about it. And then I was talking to my co-stars, like Anna, who had been on like TV for a very long time. She was like, no, you just like do it as you go. You know, you'll find your rhythm. So I took advice from people who'd been doing on-camera acting for a while. And it was a bit nerve-wracking because I felt like I needed to have everything memorized before for a long time and rehearse it till like beat it. But then I think I did find my rhythm. I realized there is such a thing as over-rehearsing a scene. And then also, yeah, I found my rhythm as I did it, I think.
You talked about it like manifesting in panic attacks. Does any of that anxiety or stress actually make you a better performer once you figure it all out? Stressful. I'm sorry.
No, don't apologize. No, I'm not stressed out. I'm just thinking about it. But I'm sure everything feeds into my acting, you know, like everything that I do in life, I'm sure feeds into what I do on camera as an actor. So I'm sure it helps, for sure. Even the unpleasant experiences, I'm sure I'm taking something and putting it into good use for screen.
And there is also like this having stress about like being a perfectionist. Mm-hmm. Is really bad if it's unregulated and unmanaged. Yeah. But it actually drives a lot of greatness.
I was a severe perfectionist even as a kid. Like, I remember distinctly, if I got one thing on a test wrong, I would beat myself up and cry about it. And then my classmates would come up to me like, oh my God, what happened? You're like, I got this one thing wrong. And they'd be like, are you kidding me? Like, stop it, come on. Like, but then to me, it was such a big deal because I was like, I needed to get everything right. So I was a huge perfectionist as a kid. And I think that as I grew older and I came to terms with the fact that I cannot be a perfectionist, otherwise I will go crazy. And then I learned about the concept of perfectionism and what it really means in terms of it's not really a humble brag. It's really a problem, actually, that people, it's like based on trauma and you have to learn to let it go. Otherwise, it's just an obstacle more but then again, totally. Like you said, it can also help because you set yourself to a higher standard for something every time, but then also it's like the balance of like, yes, I want more, but also being happy with what I have.
100%.
Yeah.
Like, and perfectionism can't jeopardize the entire journey.
Yeah.
Like, and it was unchecked, like it really could. Mm-hmm. It will. Like you just get blinded by it.
Yeah.
And then you can't move forward.
Yeah.
But the real act of like, a part of this is not necessarily perfection, it's consistency, you know, and being able to get up and like take another shot at it.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree. To the point that I'm like, because I also see my perfectionism come out when it comes to like editing or writing videos and things like, because I was a journalism major, I used to like, you know, use Final Cut and do all my editing myself and stuff. And I would just get fixated so much on like the little audio transitions and, you know, like the little things that no one else will understand or care about. Yeah. So then it's also like, trying to let that go and exercising imperfection with purpose, you know?
That's like, beautifully said. Journalism major. Mm-hmm. Any of that make you a better actor? And also, like, why'd you make the leap in? I mean, when you think of journalism and acting, they're different. I mean, depending on which news channel you watch. But how'd you get there?
So I chose journalism as my major because film was something I loved since I was a kid. I wanted to be a film director, and I still do. It's definitely in my career trajectory to become a film director as well. But TV journalism was kind of the next thing that I could realistically afford at the time when I was choosing schools and whatnot. Film school was not an option. So, and I love documentaries and making stuff and shooting and interviewing people. So TV journalism became my major. And then, so I do love the essence of journalism in the sense that it's exploring different themes and meeting new people and asking what their stories are. I do love diving deep into, other people's stories and phenomena and what's happening and why is that happening. So I love the essence of that. But then obviously I think more fundamentally, I was craving more of an artistic, creative outlet for myself because I always loved the arts. It just never was an option to pursue it in any way. It was always like seen as a hobby for me or from my parents. It's like not even an option to pursue that as a career. So I think when time came when I just tried to push it aside as much as I could. And I love singing too, so I wanted to be a singer at some point. But all of those endeavors were something that I just kept pushing down and down and pretending like it doesn't exist until I think came a time when it just had to explode out and be like, I'm not gonna stop bugging you till you do something about it. So then I made the transition.
Has it been hard to convince your parents, even still today, that what you're doing is real?
No, they're happy now. They're very happy now. But at the very beginning, it was definitely a debate, long, drawn-out arguments and convincing. Even when I was a journalist, I tried to quit my job, and I told my mom in advance, and she and I had like a 6-hour marathon conversation that went into the night about why I should not quit versus why I should quit. And my brother was like a mediator in that too, so he was a witness to this. But it was. I mean, at the end of the day, she's very supportive now. My parents are very happy, and they just want us to be happy and stable at the end of the day. So they're very happy now.
You want to direct movies?
Yes.
Do you have favorite movies?
Oh, favorite movies are more difficult, I think. But I can do favorite directors, I think.
Interesting.
But I do gravitate towards like sci-fi / historic-based movies, I think. And then I have rom-coms that I watch every year. Like a lot of Richard Curtis movies would be my holiday favorites. Christopher Nolan's movies I love. And also Yorgos Lanthimos movies.
You watch his movies, Dan?
To be honest, these are names I've never heard in my life.
Yorgos Lanthimos? I'm sure you know his movies, though. The Favorite.
Want to try to spell his name?
I don't even want to try to pronounce it.
Poor Things.
Oh, I've heard of that one.
Yeah, with Emma Stone. Yeah, but really bizarre films I love, too.
Do you think about future projects right now? Or are you
I do.
Genuinely, what are you looking for?
I do think about it all the time. Like all the time, genuinely all the time I'm thinking about the future. Maybe to an unhealthy degree. But I would love to do a theater of some kind. Like I want to do theater as much as I can, but it's hard because then I'll end up always choosing whatever pays me more, and theater doesn't pay. It's more like a passion project, right? So I want to produce my own theater so that I can do it when I want to with the budget I have. Yeah. And then like TV or movie projects I'll do like, when I get them. So I do want to put a production at some point. And then I do have a project that I can't talk about that I will be working on for like the next 1 or 2 years as well. And hopefully more films. I would love to do indie movies for sure.
Would you work with your brother again?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, actually with xokitty, we don't have that many scenes together in the show. We barely are friends in the show, which, is good because we got to spend a lot of time off the screen together because of the project, which just made us grow closer, but then we didn't necessarily have to be on camera all the time together.
The whole thing's crazy, though.
Yeah.
I had no idea that was your brother until after I watched the entire show.
Really?
But then it made sense because, like, Yuri and Minho have they're not interested in each other at all. They're the only two characters that have no interest in each other, which makes complete sense now.
That's so true. That's so true.
But the backstory here is that you really did keep it a secret until the very end, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, because unless we told them, they would never know because we auditioned separately from different countries. We're 2 submissions out of I don't know how many. So they had no way of connecting us really. And then we wanted to make sure that, okay, what if we land a role and then we have a love line of some kind and they have to drop one of us? That would be horrible. So then we told them in the last final rounds, and then they had to make sure that we don't have any love line before the studio like gave a green light to go. So it really worked out. Actually, I do have a few movie ideas with me and my brother as like the duo as well that I want to write eventually. So those are things that also like maybe upcoming later in the future.
Does it make sense that your brother is playing a heartthrob?
No. No, I don't know. You know what? It's just weird for me to think of him as an attractive boy to people. So it's very weird for me. But now I'm like somewhat used to it now, I guess. But I'm very happy for it.
Is it ever weird that you and your brother have completely different accents in real life?
It's not weird because, I don't know, I'm used to it. And also, I don't know, I guess just growing up in a place like Hong Kong where you grow up with different accents all the time, even my accent kind of fluctuates. I heard an audio clip from I made like a short documentary in high school, and I was watching it the other day, and my accent is different from now in high school.
What was it before?
It was like general American too, but it was like kind of still like, I don't know. You know, it was like, I don't know what it is.
I hear it, yeah.
It was something weird. And then I was like, oh, it has evolved. And, you know, when I'm with certain people, I absorb their accents really quickly too. And so does my brother. I think I guess maybe it's a trait of people who just grew up with English as a second language. It's just, we just absorb the accents very quickly.
You guys are also like very much citizens of the world. Like you lived many places, no?
Yeah, yes, for sure.
What do your parents do?
My dad works in construction, so we moved around as kids because we would go where his projects took him.
Makes sense.
And at first, my mom would just mother us in Korea while he did his thing abroad. But then over time, they did like 1 year long distance, and they were like, we don't want to be apart like this anymore. So then we ended up traveling with our dad to wherever he went. So that's why we ended up just moving around a lot as kids as well.
Blessing and a curse.
Yeah, I know. I think it's just sort of fated, honestly, to be traveling a lot. In Korean, we have an expression called 영맛살, which is if they read your birth chart and they say that you have a lot of 영맛살 in your reading, it means you're kind of destined to always travel and move around. And we both have that, and it makes so much sense. Like, I haven't spent more than 5 years in one country at a time. Like, that's been a pattern in my life that I didn't know until I looked back. I was like, oh, wow, like 5 years seems to be like my cycle in one country, and then I'm moving.
But that's
again.
hard to build a home, right? But home is really with people.
Yeah, that's something that I think is forming for me as well, because LA is now a home, but it took its time as well. This is my 5th year mark in LA, actually.
Where are we going next?
I know, but then I think now I'm kind of more used to, because of that, my best friends are spread out everywhere. I have long distance friendships all the time where we're leaving an hour-long voice note to each other to catch each other up and things. So I think in a way, yes, it's harder to build a community in one place, but also it's like I'm having communities everywhere around the world, and it's we're all connected spiritually and by technology anyway. So yeah, it's something like you said, it's like the people you take with you in your heart. I think it makes me feel like I'm home wherever I am.
That's home, yeah.
Yeah.
And your relationship with your brother and your family, it's even stronger than the typical.
Yeah.
Because like the common thread through a lot of your moves have been him, right?
Yeah.
I mean, up until recently, I guess.
We spent a bit of a time apart, I think, for like 6-7 years while I was like living abroad, and he was in military, and he was living in Korea out of the military. So xokitty is when we kind of came together again physically and like had to spend a lot of time together.
And did he act previously or like?
Yeah, he studied acting in his undergrad, and so he pursued it earlier in his life than I did. He was also doing it in high school, and then after he finished military service, he was doing modeling and, little gigs here and there that he could find. So he was pursuing it.
Is he actually into skincare in real life or not?
Not really. Not really. He doesn't do much for his skincare.
Should Dan and I do something for our skincare?
No, you guys have great skin, and you don't even have
sure?
anything on you. Yeah, I'm so sure.
I don't do anything. I don't even wash my skin.
You
Well-
don't?
No. Well, I mean, I shower, so like I put like water is hitting it.
So do you not put lotion or sunscreen or anything?
No.
No sunscreen?
No.
Wait, you don't put anything on your face?
Yeah.
You don't have
So maybe I
moisturizer?
should be doing something for my skincare.
No moisturizer.
No. Do I look great without it? Like, look, I mean,
What? I mean, if you don't do anything to your skin, like, that's crazy because you do have nice skin.
Thank
But
you.
I feel like you should put sunscreen at least.
Okay,
Sunscreen for the wrinkles,
I can do that.
Yeah.
I did. I was on TV the other day, and they put makeup on me, and they put these things under my eyes, and it burned,
Oh, really?
but it felt good. It was
Like
like,
the eye patch stuff?
yes,
Yeah.
it was fucking amazing. It was like icy.
Yeah.
Took down the swelling.
Then what do you do to your face?
He does.
I
He has a
just-
routine.
I just use my face wash. I use moisturizer and sunscreen.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
it.
No, you don't need a 10-step thing. Once you have like 1 or 2 products on there, like the rest are just sitting on top.
Brother, 3 steps is a lot of steps.
Washing your face, putting on moisturizer and sunscreen is too many steps for you.
Currently, I'm doing no steps.
Okay, you're-
So anything more than my zero motion is too many steps.
You're gonna regret that in
Wow.
10, 20 years. Trust me.
You think?
Yeah, save this. Look back on it.
Yeah, but that's why I get scared because I've used the TikTok filter that like shows you that you're aging. It looks fucking gnarly, bro.
Yeah.
And I'm
So,
like, where'd I go wrong?
it's about preventing, not fixing.
Yeah, exactly. Fixing is hard.
Fixing is difficult.
Do you think
preventing
I-
is easy.
Pretty bad.
Do you think I still have time?
Yes.
Or is it too far gone?
No.
Never too late to start.
Okay, God.
You are the youngest today in your life, so you
Okay,
have to
that's
start
true. I
today.
was going
Yeah.
to say
Beautiful.
youngest in the room. It's been a while, but I'm not.
Carlos back
Carlos. Fuck you, Carlos. Damn. What are you thinking? You're a big fan of this show.
I watched the whole thing. At first, I started watching because I said, okay, she's coming in. And then I was sold. I was like, oh, I'm into this. She can cancel for all I care. Like, I'm into this show. Yeah, like I am. I'm in it. At the end of every episode, I'm like, gotta get to the next one. Like, they leave you on cliffhangers.
Right. They're really good at that.
But what
Yay.
advice would you give to Kitty if you were like a big sister to her? Because the whole time I'm watching, I'm like, Kitty, enough with the drama. Enough. Focus on your school grades.
Focus
know?
on your school grades.
She was starting to fail some stuff, and she didn't care about school. All she cared about was boys, then girls, then drama, then this, then that. I'm like, Kitty, like, let's focus on why you're here.
Well, she also was focusing on her mom.
She was, and that's
true.
important. And the family part's important.
Yeah, but she lost track of the mom, I think, at a
Yeah.
certain point. Yeah.
So funny.
At a certain point, she just focused on you.
Yes. No, but that's so funny because I would also say the same thing. I'm like, what are you doing? Where your school? Your school matters. Like, what are you doing? You gotta go to university. Korea does not fuck around with grades and like, you know what I mean? Jokes aside, I think I don't know. Kitty does make a lot of mistakes, but I do think that there are things that she'll learn from, and her heart is always in the right place. So I feel like I will trust that and be like, it's great that you lead with your heart, and I love that for you. But maybe don't try to be, as my friend has said to me before, don't be Captain Save-A-Ho, which is like trying to say, don't be Captain Save-A-Ho. That my friend has said to me before. And so, you don't have to go around extinguishing all the drama fires. Set your boundaries. Do what you will. Love your friends, but also let them go on their own journey sometimes too. Yeah.
Is it interesting that Yuri was essentially a beard for someone? Do you know what that phrase means?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know
Oh,
that?
yeah, for day.
Well, he was my beard, no?
Well,
Yeah, no,
Right?
yeah.
yeah.
Right.
He was-
right.
that's- Okay, so
Right,
Yuri,
right.
Yuri had a beard.
Yuri
and
had a
it was day.
beard,
Yuri
and
had
it
a
was Day.
beard.
Day was your beard.
I
Yes.
know, that was so funny. I love that. I love their dynamics, actually. Like, I'm like kind of bossing him, nudging him around. Like, I'm paying you money, so do this for me.
It's a really unique situation.
Yeah, in high school, like that's crazy. Like, I'm paying you. You're writing my essays for me. That was so fun. That was so fun though. I love Min Young. He's such a sweetie pie. So I loved working with him.
I just want Day to be happy.
Me
At the end,
too.
I'm like, oh, this poor guy.
Me too.
Cut him a break.
I know. He has good grades. You'll find your love. You know, good guys don't finish last in the real world. I don't. Yeah, I believe that.
I gotta say, Jenny Han's a genius, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like unequivocally, without a doubt, a genius.
Yes. She is so good at writing whatever speaks to, because like Dan, like you said, you probably didn't expect to like the show as much as you did, right?
No, at first I was like, what am I watching? And then I was like, oh, yeah.
Right.
I'm sold.
Yeah, I mean, I think she's really good at bringing that kind of innocent high school sweetheart love, that feeling into her writing, even as an adult, that everyone can relate to it. Yeah, it's just so good.
It's genius. Like she clearly channels something or has the ability to like go back in her own like childhood, and it's exquisite.
Yeah, I know. And when you meet her, you do kind of feel that innocence too. Like in person, she has that kind of like sweet aura about her that makes sense as to why she can write things like that.
Really wild. What's
Yeah.
the biggest thing? Like, it's the biggest thing you've learned so far from Yuri.
I think she eventually, at the end of season 1, finds her arc to find her real voice. Like, she's always been a very ferocious go-getter, but I think that in her search to be loved and desire to be seen and appreciated for who she is by her mom, who is very, like our relationship with our parents is very formative in every relationship for the rest of our lives, right? So I feel like her relationship with her mom definitely, and her being able to find her voice to be like, this is who I am. You either love me or you don't, but I hope you do, that kind of journey that she has, I think it resonates for me, and I hope like a lot of other people. I've definitely had my own very unique struggles with my mom that I would never have with anyone else growing up, and I do think that mother-daughter dynamic is very, very special for that reason. I don't know if you guys have sisters who maybe, yeah. But yeah, a lot.
This show has like a refreshing mix of racial diversity, queer representation. It's all going out to a global audience. Do you feel the responsibility that comes with the show, or at least the shifting of perspectives that could happen after watching a show like this?
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I love the show for that reason alone. And even before I was when I saw the breakdown for the show and they were like, we're casting for these roles, and they had a brief description of the main characters, I already could tell this is going to be such a refreshing show with such diversity. And I was really excited that a show like this was going to be made. And this was like whether I was in it or not, right? And as a Korean who grew up in other parts of the world, but also I'm very aware of where Korea is in terms of its openness to diversity or its progress in its history of diversity and inclusion. I do think that it meant something for me as well, in the sense that this is an American production, but it was shot in Korea. The backdrop is Korea. A lot of the actors are Korean and otherwise, but it also meant something to me in the sense that I do think that all artists have like a responsibility somewhat, maybe not everyone will agree, but to, whether that's provoking or like just instigating some sort of conversation or change, or just plain making someone feel something, even if that's like anger or something negative maybe. But I did feel that it was meaningful because of that and the conversations that it'll hopefully start in places like Korea where it's set, because I think that Korea definitely still has a way to go when it comes to inclusivity and the queer community being openly welcomed in every sphere and pocket of the society. And so yeah, it's been a really, so in many aspects, it's been a very big pleasure, to say the least, to be a part of a show like xokitty.
This show is very important for many, 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 many reasons.
Yeah, yeah.
What's
yeah.
the response been in Korea to the show?
You know what? I do think that they are very intrigued by the show because they're like, oh, it's an American show that highlights all these Korean places and people, and they have these Korean actors. So even if I don't know exactly statistically how well it did compared to other countries, but they definitely know of the show even if they hadn't watched it, just because, when you hear, oh, Korea is being represented somewhere by another country, then they'll always like tune into that. But I do think that the lack of negative response is like already a good thing.
That's a positive.
I'm sure that they're like, oh, some of this is not accurate because it's an international school and that's not representative of every Korean, obviously. But I already take that as a big sign that there was no pushback against it for the queer love lines or something like that, and Koreans are intrigued by it more than anything else. So, yeah.
And by the way, like even people here in this country need to see a show like this so they can get an idea of how, I don't know, generations like ours, younger generations actually love and embody that and live that every day. It's not traditional. It's not what people thought it was. It's not clearly defined. It's fluid as fuck. It flows. Do you get what I'm saying? Like that. I can't even think of another instance where I've seen a show geared towards young adults, but really could tap into literally everybody, built for families essentially, where the main character is dating both a guy and a girl within a season.
Right.
Or at all.
Yeah.
No, it's extraordinary.
Yeah. No, I'm glad you think that because I do think that's one of the beauties of the show is that it can speak to so many people, even though technically it's in the YA category. So I love that about the show too.
It's really special.
Do you ever think of what Yuri's future is? Like, do you have any say in that moving forward now since you know the character better than anybody else?
I mean, the writers will definitely already have an idea, and then they will share with me, oh, I think this is the trajectory of the character in the next season. Like, oh, you'll get blah, blah, blah in the next season. And I think I would get a say, like, if I say something like, oh, I don't think Yuri would do this, but rather do this, then I'll definitely think that they'll be open to it, for sure. And I'm excited for Yuri's journey because I didn't even realize this until I saw some fan commenting being like, Yuri's the only one with a sad ending at the end of season 2.
Yeah, things aren't looking up for Yuri.
I know. And I was like, that's so true. I'm the only one with not a happy ending. But at the same time, I'm like, not everything has to be a happy ending. And also, just because she's broke and doesn't have a girlfriend doesn't mean it's a sad ending.
Yeah, like spoiler alert, Yuri is broke and Juliana will not take her back.
Right. But,
And-
we don't know if that's a blessing or a curse. Like, we don't know that. Just because it's sad doesn't mean it's bad. So I'm excited for whatever happens, to be honest, later.
Yeah, it looks like the character is set up for some serious challenges.
Yes.
Do you have any idea of what you would like to see for the character?
I just want to see her grow her independence. Like, who is she now that she has more of an authority and say in her sexuality to her parents, and like, what is she without her financial privilege? What is she gonna do about that? Like, what's most important to her that she'll try to fight for it even without this kind of security beneath her feet. So I'm interested to see that.
Wild.
I got a couple ideas if you guys need any.
Yeah? Well,
Yeah.
wait, what are they?
I'm sure Jenny Han is like really like, oh, what would Dan do?
Wait, what would you say?
Well, I think Yuri is like, I always thought that her and Day were actually going to end up together one day. And then I also think...
I feel like that's your own thing.
No,
Like, I feel
no.
like you personally
No.
like fell in love with a lesbian and...
What?
But keep going.
And I think that... Well, it's a weird because I think that Yuri is now falling for Kitty, but she's going in a different direction now.
Yeah, but at one point Kitty was into Yuri, and I think Kitty
I
and
know.
Yuri are going to end up together.
No, I don't think so. I think Yuri blew her shot. I think Kitty's on to Minho.
Yeah,
Kitty
but,
is
like,
actually choosing between two relatives in real life.
You would...
If you think about that. Kitty's picking between you or your brother.
I know, that's so funny.
Wow.
Oh. Yeah.
Has this whole thing brought you and your brother closer?
Oh, for sure. For sure. I mean, we were always close growing up, but as adults, because we live in different countries, we wouldn't have occasion to spend that much physical time together unless I visit him in Korea or our family in Korea. So, and this show in itself is such a huge thing to have in as a common denominator in our career. So I feel like for 1,000%, yes, it's brought us so much closer together. For
You're
sure.
not in it alone.
Yeah.
That's important.
It's so, yeah.
This is a scary thing to do on your own. Like, it is a
Yeah,
big thing.
I know.
Both in, like, yeah, shooting it, but then also the world receiving it and then navigating life after. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
somebody understands.
And it would suck if only one of us had gotten the role for this role when both of us got so close. Because I would not want it, like, and I'm sure he would have been, like, bummed if I didn't get the role when he did. And it would have been the same both ways because we would definitely want to share the success with each other, and we would feel bad, like, oh, you almost made it but you didn't, and then now I'm like almost feeling guilty about enjoying whatever outcome of the show is. So I'm very, very thankful that we both got it.
The universe is wild.
I know.
By the way, you are a double Scorpio, I just found out.
Oh yes, how did you know?
I mean,
In your research.
we know things.
I am a double Scorpio.
You're an extroverted introvert.
I am I'm
Weird.
an introverted introvert.
Love it.
But more of an introvert, I'd say.
Really?
But my Aquarius moon makes it so that it's easier for me to mingle with people I just met. But then deep down, I'm like, I want to be alone.
I literally felt that. I get that.
No, but I
understand
love
that.
people. It's good. So what is your impression of a double Scorpio?
No, that's cool.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, again, like the last person I was with was also double Scorpio.
Oh, really?
Yeah, very extrovert
Oh.
introvert.
Yeah.
Very
What
weird.
are your signs? Taurus and...
Sagittarius.
Oh, okay. Do you guys know your moon and rising as well?
I know nothing.
You guys should download. I'll sell you an app. It's so good. It'll break down everything for you, and then you'll be able to know
Would-
your moon and rising.
Which app? Which one
It's
is it?
called The Pattern.
Oh, I love that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was on it.
I mean, Sagittarius. Do you know like the traits of a Sagittarius too?
I don't know anything about
Oh,
it.
really?
It's literally you to a T.
It's like they're known to be outgoing and creative and a little bit like a rebel in the sense that they'll do things just to like stir shit up and like the kind of
That was me in my former life.
No,
Yeah.
it's literally you. It's literally you. It's
But Sagittarius is a fun energy, like a fun sign.
yeah, people like being around them.
Yeah.
Working with them, not so much.
Okay.
You survived.
Hey, speaking of social media, what's it been like to see the rapid growth in your following?
It was surreal. Like I said, I don't think the numbers really meant anything to me in real life when it first started happening. Like, really, because it reached the peak number within like a week of the show releasing the first season. And then obviously over time it gradually came down, and now with season 2 it's going up again, as it does, ebbs and flows. I don't know. It's a number. It's intangible to me, other than if I meet fans, then I'm like, oh, there are real people behind these numbers. But I don't know. But it's been a journey. Social media has definitely been a journey on its own in terms of how I navigate it, how I use it as a tool, and that's just been a lot. And I recently deactivated for like a month prior to the show coming out. And it was wonderful. It was wonderful. I needed this break. And yeah, it's been interesting, to say the least.
Did you deactivate for a reason?
Many reasons.
Health?
Compounded reasons. But I don't know. It's a lot of it as it's nothing like hate comments or people saying nasty stuff. No. My fans are so lovely. They're all such nice people, like sweet fans. It was nothing to do with that. Honestly, it was more the energy leakage that I felt through Instagram and, the constant checking, first of all, and then the kind of social dynamics aspect of it, where, you know, nowadays it's like, oh, you follow someone, do they follow you back, like that kind of thing, like micro dynamics that kind of build up and it bothers you, and then you're like, why am I paying any attention to this when it's very insignificant to anybody's lives? At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. And I just found that so many of these things were happening over the last couple of years that I just wanted I didn't want the hype of the show coming out to reflect how I use the app too. So when I deactivated, I immediately told my publicist, my manager, like, hey, these are the reasons why I'm deactivating. And I know the show's coming out, so this might be terrible timing, and you guys might want me to post things that I've, like, interviews and stuff. But I'm like, this is also why I think I should not be on Instagram right now, because I will feel self-pressure to post, repost, like, all these things, engage, and I don't want that because I have other things I want to focus on right now. And the show is out there. Whether I want it or not, it's out there. I don't need to do more about it to be a part of the hype or the clout. So
The audience was going to find it either way.
Yeah, exactly.
You posting about it didn't matter.
Exactly. Exactly.
By the way, you should watch XOKitty. It's waiting for you. It's all on Netflix, obviously. Watch it.
Yes.
You good?
Last question for me is, how did you end up in a G-Idol music video?
Yeah, but what's even crazier is that this song ends up being in the show.
Yes.
And they didn't even know.
Yeah. But I still have to speak to the editor or someone in the editing room about this, because so my publicist, she's very well connected to the K-pop world because she represents some K-pop artist groups. And she, later on I found out, because 88 Rising, the label, like, approached me about the music video. And then later I found out that she had recommended me as an actor for one of the roles. And that's why I just did it. And then later in the intro song for season 2 for Yuri, it was that song. And I was like, wait, did they know that I was in the music video? Is that why they chose this? Because otherwise, that's like a huge synchronicity, which I love.
Yeah,
so
but this whole thing is littered with synchronicity. And
filled with
universe.
synchronicities. It's just filled with it. It's insane. It's crazy, which I love.
Yeah, it was meant to be.
Yeah.
The whole thing was meant to be.
Yes, I agree.
It's really crazy.
Yeah.
You good?
Yeah, I'm ready for season 3, whenever you are.
Oh, yay. Thank you so much. Thank you. This has been so good, and I really appreciated the conversation and the questions that you guys had. I was told you guys ask really good questions, so I was very excited to be here today. So.
I hope we didn't let you down.
No, not at all. It's been very, very interesting, very, very good questions. Because, you know, like, you do so many of this interviews about the same show, it kind of does get, like, repetitive, which I understand, but also so that's why I appreciate more when there are questions that, you know, I've never had before.
All right, last question, because I am interested. At what point in this whole process do you feel like you really found Yuri and understood who Yuri was? 'Cause you don't... No, I want to know, like, when did you find this character? Because, like, when did you understand who this character was?
Okay.
And then we'll get out of here.
Okay. When did I... You know what? That's so funny, because even up until the day before I was, like, in the gym, I remember I was kind of having a low-key anxiety attack, because I was on the treadmill. I was like, do I even know this character? I don't think I know her at all, and I'm about to go shoot this, and I just felt like a huge imposter syndrome washing over me. But I think at the end of the day, I was telling myself, and I was talking to other castmates as well, and they were like, it's fine. No one has it all 100% figured out. No one's going to ever think they have it all figured out before they step on set. So don't put pressure on yourself like that. And also, yeah, it made sense to me, because I was like, Yuri is very lost and confused. So it's okay that I'm lost and confused. It'll just feed into the character, you know? And then also, yeah, it's like she's going on a search on this journey. So maybe I'll just go in for the ride and go on the search when she goes on the search. But again, like, the exercises that I did in quarantine of, like, embodying her, trying to, like, see where she is in her private life and her public life, like, that kind of thing definitely helped to set the foundation, but the rest I had to kind of leave it.
Even by the end of season 2, you still don't feel like you know her or found her?
I mean, now I definitely feel more comfortable to say that I do know her, but I don't think that I know her future self.
who does?
Yeah. Yeah.
We all don't know our future selves.
Exactly.
We just have ideas.
Yes.
I appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate you too, Zach. I
Yeah.
appreciate you, Dan. Thank
Appreciate you.
Thank you guys.
Gia
for
Kim,
having me.
everybody.
Yay. Thank you.